Hi everyone and welcome to another video on my channel. This is another one where I enhance my branding as the UCL vlogger study tuber, even though I don't think I fall into the study tube category. I don't really have a niche. Anyways, in today's video, I wanted to share with you the insights that I've gotten from my first year at UCL. I know I'm technically not finished and not done with uni yet, but term 2 has ended and I definitely do have enough insights to share what I learned over the last couple of months while being a fresher at UCL and what tips I can give you if you're going into UCL in the following academic year, so the 2021-2022. I actually invited some of my friends to join me in making of this video to give some of their tips and things that they wish they knew before coming to UCL. We're hoping that everything will be as back to normal as possible. I think they're currently planning on implementing like a hybrid teaching methods where some parts of teaching will be delivered online and some will be in person. I'm really hoping most of them will be in person. Anyways, I sort of made a list of different types of insights and like tips that I would like to give you. These are just things that came to my head that I wish I knew before. And I think compared to how many students attend UCL, I think it's around like 40,000. I'm not sure though. There are not that many online resources on like what to really expect, and I do think that these kinds of videos were really helpful for me when I affirmed my UCL offer and I wanted to go there. Like I used to watch so many videos on UCL, even like the trashiest ones that have like 150 views. I just was hungry for that UCL content, and I think if you're a prospective student you may be as well, so that's why I'm delivering it to you. Super high quality planned content that won't leave you just feeling cringy like most of these videos do. I'm sorry for people who make them, but some of them are really not the best. So the first tip that I would like to start with is to evaluate the enjoyment of your course as soon as you go into uni. What I mean by that is when applying to universities, students are not often really that well informed of what the actual subject will entail, and their expectations of how the teaching will look, what sort of material will be taught, can deviate from the realities as it often is. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because if you're not enjoying your course in the first month or two after you go into UCL, they still offer the possibility of transfer. So without having to sort of restart from year one or whatever, you can just like switch within UCL. I don't know if you've watched my video where I was kind of like dramatic over wanting to switch my course. I think I'm gonna stick with economics. But anyways, I know quite a lot of people that I think like have doubts regarding their course. My point is, if you want to switch your course even after you've started your academic year, you still can, I'm pretty sure. Obviously you will have to like contact your tutor and the department you want to switch to or transfer to, but it's generally possible, and I think you should just keep that in mind, especially if you're not enjoying your course right from the start, because I know some people that had that as well. That was just a very random tip. I'm pretty sure like 99% of you don't really care and you will probably like your course, but I just wanted to put it out there for people like this girl who are very indecisive. My second point, and I think one that you will gain most from, is to make use of resources that UCL offers. When coming to UCL, I don't think I was really fully aware of things that are available to me just because I'm a UCL student. Obviously, I knew of like libraries and the website that UCL has, but there are definitely resources that you should take advantage of, because what you need to remember is that if you decide to study in the UK, whether that's UCL or just another uni, the tuition you're paying, or the one that you will be repaying for your loan, is not just for the teaching, but also for the resources that your uni offers. So firstly, library. And what I mean by that is both library resources in terms of online articles, textbooks, physical books that you can just go and lend from the library, but also libraries/study spaces. Some of them are actual libraries like Institute of Education Library, the main library, and some of them like Bidborough House or Student Center are study spaces. You don't really have like shelves with books surrounding you, which I think is a vibe, and I personally prefer to study in libraries over study spaces. And the thing is, UCL has a multitude of various study spaces, places where you can just go to with your friends or on your own and work. And I think I've done my solid part on promoting UCL study spaces on my YouTube channel because I mention them so often, but I just really love them. As a person who comes from a small city where I just had one proper library where I could study. Not to discredit it, it was a really nice library and I loved going there, but it was just this one place that I always went to. What you should remember is that there are like over 10-20 libraries, places you can go to study to. Another point is don't stick to the first one that you find and enjoy and like. That's what I did when I found out about the student center. My personal opinion, and that may be an unpopular one, student center is a bit overhyped. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. I love it. But there are a lot of other ones that are also really nice, and I think lots of people just go to student center because it's the most booked one and everybody talks about it. But if you cannot find like an empty slot, then there are a lot of other places you can go to and explore, and it's just fun to go to a new study space. It's really stimulating and helps me study as well. So other resources I would like to mention are related to careers. So first you have career fairs that usually happen in like the beginning of term 1, October, November. You should really take advantage of them and attend as many as you can, especially if you're not sure what you want to do in the future. I'm not saying you'll have it figured out after the career fairs, but they can definitely give you a better insight into what the job market looks like, what sort of careers people who study your course go into, and you can just like see a variety of employers. Again, I don't think I made a fullest use out of it because I was just really confused at the beginning of university, especially with everything being online. I just wasn't sure whether I should really attend them, whether they're a valuable resource, and I kind of regret it. You have the opportunity to like ask questions to employers, to people who work in the firms that will recruit graduates after uni. Another thing is careers tutors. These are people who are qualified to just advise you on your careers. You can basically book a one-on-one appointment with this kind of tutor, and you can go into the meeting if you like don't know what to do after your course. You can ask them about possible routes for graduates, resources. I've attended 3 of those meetings. 2 of them were really, really helpful. I was very pleasantly surprised with the kind of professional services that these offer, and they're free obviously for you. I mean, free if you pay the full tuition, but if you're enrolled in UCL, then you can book as many of them as you want. Again, I think not that many people are aware of that. I only found this out by talking to a girl who did like, I think she did like social sciences with data science. I think it's something that's like not talked about enough. And just like the whole UCL careers website, throughout the whole year they will be listing vacancies. So for part-time jobs, internships, graduate schemes, UCL does the job of like putting them all in one place for you, so you don't have to like go out of your way to look for them on your own. Yet another thing that I would like to mention is Canopy, and Canopy is a streaming service that gives you access to over 20,000 documentaries and educational content. And again, that's something I just found out by talking to a girl from my French class. She told me that as UCL students we just have like free access to this platform. And the last thing is wellbeing services. So UCL has like a whole team of staff that help you if you struggle with like mental issues. You don't really necessarily need to have like mental issues. You can just like book an appointment with them and talk to them if you're going through like a rough period in your life and it's kind of like interfering with your studies, or you can reach out for them to get counseling. So again, I think UCL does a really good job in terms of like support with that. Since I already started talking about kind of academia part of UCL, I would like to mention, and this is not specific to UCL, this is just something I wish I like knew at the beginning of my course, that as soon as you go into university, you should develop an efficient time management system, and you should remember to use your time wisely, because when you begin uni, you will have so many things on your plate and you will be very busy. Obviously you have studying to do, but then on top of that you have career fairs, you have societies, meeting new people, friends, making connections, social life, and exploring London, and you have to kind of fit all of that into your daily schedule, and that can be very, very tricky to balance all of those things out in high school. A lot of us just had to focus on studying and maybe like friends, there wasn't that much going on, at least for me. So one tip in regards to that, you don't have to attend all of your lectures. I'm not encouraging you to skip classes because you're paying for your education, but the thing is, after you've been to a couple of those and you've kind of gained an idea of how these lectures tend to look, whether they're like engaging, whether you're gaining anything from them, or whether you feel like you're wasting your time and you can use that time more efficiently, then definitely do, and don't feel bad about it, because I definitely did at the beginning. I thought I had to like have 100% attendance because I'm paying for this and I'm gonna lose out on so much if I'm not gonna like attend every single class. But honestly, for example, for my maths module, I personally did not attend any lectures in term 2, because first of all of the material was covered in pre-recorded lectures from last year, so they were like posted on Moodle. And second of all, the live lectures that my professor was having, I don't think he mentioned anything new in those lectures that I couldn't gain either from like the papers he uploaded or my textbook. So I basically like self-taught myself math in the whole term 2, but I don't think I would gain anything from going to those lectures. Keep that in mind. Remember to just prioritize things and activities that bring you actual value. I'm not saying just academic value, also just personal values. My fourth advice is in regards to societies. I'm sure you've heard a lot about student societies before going to uni because there's a whole culture of that. First of all, I would recommend you to go on to UCL's website and look through the societies they offer, because they have a huge variety of societies that you can join. A lot of them will look interesting to you, but realistically, it's not really possible to get like actively involved in more than 3 of them, although even 3 I think is quite a lot. Again, if you're as undecisive as me, I would recommend you to have a variety of different types of societies. So let's say you want to choose 3 societies, so I would go with one for career or academic purpose. So these can be like consulting society, economist society, medical society, just things that are related to your academia and potentially can give you some work/career experience that you can use when you're applying for internships or jobs later on. The second type of societies I would say is like hobbies and common interests, whether that's like cultural societies, so Polish society, Afghan society. You can have also societies related to your interests, such as debating society, climate action society. And the third type is sports society. I personally did not join any sports societies, obviously because everything is online. But when term 2 restarts and everything's in person, I definitely want to join a sports society, primarily because, well, firstly, it's a good way to meet new people, even though the fees for the societies, because you have to pay like an entrance fee kind of to join a society, can be quite expensive, ranging from like 50 to 100 pounds, but you pay for the whole academic year. And there are so many sports that you probably wouldn't ever get the chance to do. You can join the rowing society, pole dancing, frisbee, kickboxing, anything you can think of. There's probably a society for that at UCL. I think there's even a Harry Potter society. If you can't really make up your mind as to which societies to join, I would recommend joining like one from each of these categories. So
Hi guys, the main thing I want to talk about was the breadth of opportunities available at UCL. They really do provide you with so much opportunities, but you have to go out your own way and look for them. So the first one is societies. I'm part of UCL Tennis and I'm going to be joining committee next year as head of development tennis. And this is really a great way just to meet people who are quite similar minded. The second one I want to talk about was study abroad. I know if you're a chemistry student at UCL, you can apply for Caltech, Northwestern University, University of California. I applied for Toronto, British Columbia, McGill University in Canada. Although I didn't get into any of them, it was a sort of great opportunity made available by UCL for me. There's also other opportunities such as a Laidlaw Scholarship, which allows an undergraduate to conduct their own piece of research in a field they're really interested in. Now I'm going to conduct a piece of research in decision making in tennis, which is quite related to my degree in psychology. There's also another one which is like student journalism role, which allows content creators to create content for UCL's YouTube, Instagram, newsletter. So yeah, there's also lots of other opportunities that I didn't really mention, but you have to go out your way and probably look for them. So yeah, that's the main thing I want to talk about.
as I'm looking at my list of tips, I'm realizing more and more that they're not like specific to UCL. I mean, some of them obviously are, but not all of them. I hope you don't really mind that. My fifth tip is in regards to making friends. And one thing you need to keep in mind is that when you come to university, a lot of people will be in the same position as you. Probably most of them, because I think maybe just a few will have like some of their friends at the same uni, or they will know someone from the city. A lot of them are international students and people who just moved to London without having any background there, and all of them obviously want to make friends, want to make connections. So my number one tip, and something that like so important, I know that is hard, especially when you're someone who's not used to being like proactive in those kinds of terms, because I think for a lot of us, friendships just happened in high school. If you go to a university as big as UCL, there's like lots of people, and I'm assuming in person it can feel very crowded, but it can also feel very lonely if you don't manage to find any friends. So my number one tip is that you should be the initiator. Be the person who offers to meet up with others, whether that's asking someone out for coffee, lunch, just asking people if they want to go to a bar with you, texting them on the group chat. Don't be afraid to make that first step towards people, because they're probably gonna be really willing to do that, because all of them, as I said, like they just want to make friends just as you do. And B, do not worry about coming off as weird or as like being too much to people, because again, a lot of people would just want to make new friends. And another tip, if you go to like a party or you just meet new people, whether that's like a bar or a party, and you kind of vibe with the people there, you're thinking that it would be nice to become friends with them, don't be afraid to ask for their WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram, then like reach out to them the next day that maybe they want to grab a coffee. It's really, really easy. I know it can seem a bit terrifying at first, just being that first person to start up a conversation. I personally did not have much issues with that. I think I have quite a good intuition in regards to people. Whenever I would meet someone that I thought I would vibe with, I like was not reluctant to ask them out for a coffee, and a lot of my friendships right now started exactly this way.
Hi everyone, my name is Aoife. I'm a first year politics and international relations student at UCL. I think something I really told myself when I first joined was not to put too much pressure on meeting, my group of people. It's actually quite tough, especially in this COVID times. Oh my goodness, no societies, like no going out or clubbing. I think I really wish I told myself that, especially because transitioning from secondary or high school to uni is quite tough. You don't have that kind of people that you're used to around you anymore, and you have to put yourself out there, and it can be quite intimidating, but it actually does take a while. And I think something I tell freshers is to relax. You will find your group of people. For me, it's taken a while. I think only in the second half of spring term did I really find people I was comfortable hanging out with, and even now I'm still meeting new people. I don't know what this coming year is gonna look like. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Put yourself out there, like I said before. Also remember that uni is 3 to 4 years. So if you don't meet your friends in first year, it's completely fine. You've still got ages to meet all sorts of people.
Now, another one of my general tips is you should talk to as many people as possible. And this is kind of aside from making friends, because what I mean is just talk to various people who you seem to have nothing in common with, because these conversations can be very eye-opening. What I realized in my first year of uni is that I'm in this very unique place where there are people from all over the world. There are people who lived in 5 different countries. There are people who speak 7 languages, people from all different religions, all different courses. Again, UCL is such a diverse community, I feel like, and you should really take advantage of that in terms of talking to people and having those conversations in which you can just find out more about the world surrounding you. And it's just, these conversations can relate to their aspirations in life, their course, what they want to do after uni. I feel like I just gained so much of my knowledge from just talking to people. I think just talking to a lot of people increases the flow of information. It creates this sort of network of people, and you never know, and you may need those contacts in the future, or you may just find out something that's really valuable to you, and you won't achieve that unless you talk to people. I know this probably sounds like a very random tip that has no structure or sense, but I know I had this thought so many times. I'm glad I had this conversation with that person.
One thing I'd wish I'd known was I didn't need to be so scared of coming to London. Before I came, I was terrified. London was so different from where I'd grown up, and it seemed like everyone knew what they were doing except me. But really, you don't need to always know what you're doing. You don't need to memorise the entire tube map in your first week. The area around UCL, it's not quiet. There's a lot of really interesting things happening, but it's also not insanely busy. There's a lot of other universities nearby, so it's very chill and studenty. There's a lot of parks and cute shops. And one thing I'd wish I'd done earlier was take steps to get comfortable with the area. Even if it's minor things, take a new street to go to Lidl, or if you walk past a park every day, go and sit there for an hour and do some of your tutorial reading. Little tiny things like that start to really build up. I think it made a difference to my mental health once I started doing that. I felt a lot more confident. I felt like I knew what I was doing, at least a little bit more than I did at the start. And you deserve to be where you are. You deserve to try and take advantage of how nice a city London is. You don't need to feel shy or scared. Plus, that means when your friends come and visit, you can take them to all these cool places and look very trendy, like a cool city person. Even if that might not be true, you can lie.
And yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to mention in this video. I hope it was a bit informative, and I hope you just have less doubts and questions regarding your UCL life in the future. If you still have any questions or doubts regarding being a fresh at UCL, feel free to ask them in the comments. And yeah, to sum it up, I would just like to say that first year of your uni only counts for 10% of your final grade. It's not like it doesn't count, but also it's not that important if you think about it. You should keep in mind that first year is just about sort of finding your place at university, making friends that you'll meet, maybe then like rent a flat with, joining societies, engaging with your current passions and exploring some new ones, finding what interests you within your course as well. It's just about a lot more than simply studying and getting good grades, as I think high school was for a lot of us, high achievers and ambitious workaholics. So yeah, just enjoy your student life in London, explore a bit, and don't feel so stressed if you don't like do well in your first year of studies, because again, it's not as important as you may initially think, I guess. And yeah, that's everything from me for now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in another one. Bye!